Everyone, I welcome you all to this class. Today we will be considering the topic complex numbers. A complex number is any number that is of the form x plus iy, where x and y are real numbers and I raised to power 2 is equal to minus 1. That is, I is equal to square root of minus 1. So, how do you know complex numbers? Complex numbers are numbers that you can put in this form, where x and y are any real numbers at all. And this I means I is same thing as square root of minus 1. You notice when you are solving some quadratic equation, let me say this equation x raised to power 2 plus 1 equals to 0. So if you want to solve this, if you move 1 this side, you have that x raised to power 2 is equal to, since 1 is positive, come this side to be negative, right? And this implies take the square root of both sides. X will be equal to plus or minus square root of minus 1. So, but they told us that what? I is a square root of minus 1. But you notice that if you are solving this we don't have square root of negative numbers in the real line. Square root of negative number is not a real number. So because of that, this is actually a complex number. So we call such roots complex roots if you are solving a quadratic equation. So this is actually plus or minus I. So the first root is what? I. Positive I. The second root will be what? Negative I. You can as well check this one. X raised to power 2 plus 4 equals to 0. If you solve it, you are going to get that x is equal to plus or minus 2i. You are going to get that x is equal to plus or minus 2i. Because when you move for this side, you will get what? Negative square root of 4. So with this, we have known how complex numbers can arise. Now, the question is, are real numbers complex numbers? Yes, every real number is a complex number. Why? Because if I have, for instance, 5 is a complex number. Why? Because I can put it in this form. Since x and y could be any real number, I can put 5 in this form. How? 5 will be equal to 5 plus 0i. 5 will be equal to 5 plus 0 times I, where y in this case will be what? 0, because x and y can be any real number. So every real number is what? A complex number. This shows that what? R, our real number R, is inside the complex numbers. Is inside the complex numbers. But you know, there is a relation we have we know before, that natural numbers are inside what? Integers. Integers are inside rational numbers. Rational numbers are inside the real numbers. Real numbers are inside the complex numbers. This is the relation we have. Now, having known this, having known that I raised to power 2 is minus 1, how do we get other powers of I? Like I raised to power, I want to get I raised to power 20, I raised to power 200, I raised to power 400. How do I get it? I know that if I have simple one like this, like I raised to power 5, I can write it, since the one I know what is given to me is that I raised to power 2 is minus 1. So I can write this I raised to power 5 in terms of powers of 2. I raised to power 2 times I raised to power 2 times, next one will be what? 1. If I raised to power 1. Because power 2 plus power 2 plus power 1 will give you power 5. But I raised to power 2, they told you is minus 1, right? That's minus 1 times I raised to power 2 minus 1 times what? I. Minus 1 times minus 1 will give you what? Positive 1. Then positive 1 times I is what? I. So simply this is I. And this was easy because the index here is not large. So how do we actually evaluate for large index. So let's see how we can evaluate for large index. Let's create some space. Okay. For instance now, you are told to find to get the equivalent of, let me say, I raised to the power 211. I want to get the equivalent of this I raised to the power 211. How do I get this thing? Will be equal to what? Equal to what? How do we get it? Okay, I have a formula given here. You see that I raised to the power n will be 1 if n is what? Even. And n divided by 2 is what? Even. Then I raised to the power n will be minus 1 if n is what? Even. And n divided by 2 is odd. Then I raised to the power n will be I if n is what? Odd. Of course, if you do n minus 1, it will be even. If n is odd, if you do n minus 1, it will be even. So it will be divisible by 2 now. Then n minus 1 divided by 2. If n minus 1 divided by 2 is is even, you get I. Then if n is odd and n minus 1 divided by 2 is odd, then you are going to get what? Minus I. And because of that, we are going to quickly use this formula. This 211 is an odd number since it ends with 1, which is an odd number. Quickly do n minus 1 divided by 2. That is 211 minus 1 divided by 2, which is what? 210 divided by 2, which is 105. So we got what? 105. 105 ends with what? 5, which is an odd number. Our n is odd. N minus 1 divided by 2 is odd. So this will be equal to what? Minus I. Minus I. So is this one clear? Okay, let's just quickly pick another one. I raised to the power 129. I raised to the power 129 will be what? Oh, be equivalent to what? I don't know. Let's just quickly check. 129, is it odd or even? Of course it's odd. It ends with an odd number, which is 9. So what are we going to do? We do what? N minus 1 over 2. Since it's odd, n minus 1 will be even, right? Divided by 2. Let's check whether we're going to get odd or even. So that's 129 minus 1 divided by 2, which is 128 divided by 2, which is what? 64. Now, our n is odd. 129 is odd. N minus 1 divided by 2 is even, which is 64. Since 64 ends with even number, which is 4. So this first way, n is odd, n minus 1 divided by 2 is even. So your answer will be what? I will be your answer. So what if you are told to get what? Let me say I raised to power, let me say I raised to power 200. I raised to power 200. What will be the equivalence of it? Will be what? Clearly 200 is an even number. Any number that ends with 0 is what? Even number. So what do we do? What do we do? It will fall under the first one, right? Since it's an even number, it is divisible by what? 2. Quickly, you now do n divided by 2 and check whether it will be even or odd. So 200 divided by 2 will give you what? 100. 100 is even since it ends with what? 0. So they told us if n is even, n divided by 2 is even, your answer will be what? 1. So I raised to the power 200 is 1. So quickly, can we do another one? I raised to the power 22. What will be I raised to the power 22? Okay, 22 is even, right? Simply do n divided by 2. Since 22 is even, it is divisible by what? 2. So that is 22 divided by 2, which is what? 11. 11 is an odd number. It ends with 1, which is an odd number. So they told us that if n is even and n divided by 2 is odd, then your answer will be what? Minus 1. So our n is even, that's 22. N divided by 2 is odd. So our answer is what? Minus 1. With this, I hope you can get any powers of I. Thank you so much for being in part of this class. In our next video, we'll be doing more we'll be considering more things on basic algebra of complex numbers. Thank you so much.